The home prices are dropping for the first time in a long time across Denver. While the new numbers are good for potential buyers, this morning we're asking if homeowners should be worried.
The businesses are going to try to do something because we're starting to see the slowdown in consumer spending.
Yeah, it's not just home buyers worried about the economy. How Front Range restaurants are preparing for what could be another rough road ahead after the pandemic.
And reducing robocalls, we all know they're annoying. Now there's a plan of attack from Colorado's Attorney General to cut off these unwanted calls. I got one from Caldwell, Texas the other day. I don't know anyone there.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know what that is.
I just don't answer anymore,
Yeah,
and then I'm
exactly.
probably missing some real calls because of that.
You
so.
probably won a prize or something.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday. I'm Brian Sanders.
And I'm Nicole Brady, taking a live look outside from our Mile High camera. It's another warm day on tap for the Front Range, Katie.
It will be. Temperatures will climb to around 90 degrees this afternoon, but that is quite seasonal for early August. And right now it's quite pleasant outside. We're in the low 70s. Sun is shining. Relative humidity at 51%, but we will see some more storm and shower activity develop into the mountains and roll east as we get into this afternoon. But right now, 71 degrees in Thornton, low 70s as well. Broomfield and Boulder. Your hourly planner for the metro area today. You can see temperatures climbing to around 84 by lunchtime, topping out in the high 80s to near 90 degrees. 87 Littleton and Highlands Ranch, low 90s Brighton out through the airport. Now we do have the risk for afternoon thunderstorms and showers, very widespread all the way over the I-25 corridor, west into the mountains. A risk of severe weather today is low, but taking through Futurecast right around 2:30. Evergreen moving down to Highlands Ranch, Castle Rock, the Palmer Divide. We could be seeing some pockets of moderate to heavy rainfall as those storms quickly roll through before we clear out later on tonight.
And when they do roll through, you obviously have those wet roads to deal with and some limited visibility at times. Right now, we do have a problem still that's coming out of Castle Rock. Now, the crash that we had right after the Castle Rock outlets and the Castle Rock Parkway, you do have all lanes open trying to get to Happy Canyon. So as I take a look at the camera, you can see how traffic has really improved right now on I-25. A lot of folks were trying to avoid the delay here. And as you see on the map, they were trying to use Santa Fe, trying to get up to Happy Canyon. Well, from around where the shopping center is over by the King Soopers, trying to get over to Happy Canyon, that's really jammed up really bad. So I-25 is a better option for you. Even though it's registering at 24 minutes, it's actually returning back to normal, trying to get here to the Denver Tech Center, which is still running a little bit heavy for you in and out of the Denver Tech Center, south side of town. Pretty typical stuff. 80th and Vance over by the Safeway, a crash there, and otherwise the heaviest drive up to the north side into downtown on I-25. 270 and I-70 out east, also busy.
Well, new this morning, there's a big change in Denver's housing market. A just-released report finally has some better news if you're in the market for a new home.
Yeah, prices are going down. Denver 7's Jessica Crawford has been going through the numbers. What are the big takeaways, Jessica?
Well, the Denver Metro Association of Realtors says it's really still a seller's market here in Denver, but that there is much more hope for people who are hoping to buy in the near future. So here's a look at the numbers. They show active listings up 21% from a month ago, with more than 5,600 active listings. Prices are still expensive, but they are down about 3% from last month. The average closing price is just over $781,000, and the close price to list price is just over 100%. So that means that some people are paying below the list price these days, and some sellers are even helping out buyers in the face of high interest rates.
Sellers are being creative on how to provide opportunities to buyers. And one of that is to buy down that interest rate for a potential buyer and therefore making their monthly payment less. And then it's a closing cost that the seller can take on and everyone can win.
And even with this progress, there just aren't that many houses for sale here in Denver. In fact, Denver has one of the country's lowest housing vacancy rates in the entire country. I'm Jessica Crawford, Denver 7.
Yeah, Jessica, thank you. I mean, if you already live in Denver, you're facing tough competition from out-of-state buyers. A study from Redfin found out-of-towners can spend nearly 12% more on their home purchases than locals. The average maximum budget for locals is just under $880,000, which is still quite a stretch for a lot of people. But out-of-towners, they've got more money to work with. Their budgets are over $980,000. So as home prices in the Denver metro fall, what if you just bought a house or are thinking of buying one soon? Should you worry? Maybe not yet. Redfin says the top markets most at risk for a housing downturn are Riverside, California, Boise, Idaho, Cape Coral and Northport, Florida, Las Vegas. Denver's 34th on this list, and even places like Austin, Los Angeles, Portland, and San Diego rank higher than Denver. But concerns over a possible recession are reverberating across an industry still trying to rebound from the pandemic.
Yeah, according to the National Restaurant Association, 43% of restaurant owners think economic conditions will get worse in the next 6 months. Only 18% think they'll get better. As Denver 7 CB Cotton found out, those same concerns are being felt here in Colorado.
Right now, there are only smiles at Hoppa's Sushi Counter in downtown Denver. But over the past 2 years, there's also been concerns.
You know, it's been a lot of difficulties with COVID and closing in-house dining and reopening and all the different changes that have come across.
And the changes continued through 2022. This time, it's fears of a recession as supply chain issues and inflation persist.
Yeah, we'd have to raise our costs to hit our margins.
And now the Japanese restaurant with 4 locations across the state is trying to help customers do that too, with discounts.
We're offering $15 off. We're calling it Hoppa Inflation Relief. We want to give you a little incentive to come on by.
Meanwhile, other Denver businesses are taking more extreme measures. Ryan Cobbins had to temporarily close his business, Coffee at the Point.
Rising costs and inflation. I mean, I just received a letter from one of our vendors that their prices are going to increase on us by 15%. 6 months after prices already increased.
Cobbins hopes to reopen September 13th with a shop makeover and a culture change. He's also hoping to address staffing difficulties and settle a lawsuit filed by a partner who signed on in 2020. The entire staff was laid off due to this closure.
We're without revenue this week, and the revenue that we were to make this week was going toward payroll.
Whether it be a closure or a coupon, both of these situations are likely to become more common, according to DU economics professor Matt Klaus.
The businesses are going to try to do something because we're starting to see the slowdown in consumer spending.
If you're wondering if all of this points to a recession, Klaus says we're already there.
The recession is when there's 2 consecutive quarters of negative growth in the GDP. And we've had that.
In Denver, I'm CB Cotton, Denver 7.
As rising prices impact our budgets, the New York Federal Reserve now says consumer debt has topped $16 trillion for the first time ever. Most of the increase was driven by a jump in mortgage borrowing and credit card debt. Card purchases went up by $100 billion over the past year, the biggest percentage increase in more than 20 years.
At noon our time, President Biden will sign another executive order to protect abortion rights. That's going to happen at the inaugural meeting of the Task Force on Reproductive Health Care Access, which was created after Roe v. Wade was overturned by the Supreme Court. The order directs the Health and Human Services Secretary to make sure health care providers comply with federal non-discrimination laws so women can get necessary medical care. And it also directs HHS to consider actions, including using Medicare to guarantee that women traveling across state lines have access to abortions. In an effort to restrict abortion in Kansas was soundly defeated by voters last night. Kansas was the first state in the country to ask about abortion rights on a ballot after the Supreme Court voted to overturn Roe v. Wade. And the Justice Department is now suing Idaho over that state's abortion ban. On Tuesday, the department filed the lawsuit alleging the state is restricting access to abortion to patients who need life-saving medical treatment. It's the DOJ's first challenge since the High Court overturned Roe v. Wade.
And I checked his pulse, and that's a very special feeling when you're feeling for a pulse and it's not there. And so then I just started doing CPR on him.
Oh, scary situation for a local nurse who just started her new career and answered the call to serve at a moment's notice when she came across a tragic incident on I-70. Aurora police are looking for a man who tried to set people on fire at a gas station. This is unbelievable. Why officials say his attack was motivated by hate.